my topic is change is constant. So to all the mathematics students, please tell me, what is it that we have been finding our whole lives? The value of this x. This x, it's never constant, by the way. So our lives are a clear representation of this value of x. It's never constant. It keeps on changing every now and then, every age and every stage. This magical word, change, has diversified meanings, by the way. And the one the closest to my heart and my mind is breaking out of your comfort zone. This comfort zone is a killer, to be honest. Because our mind, it is psychologically, we're wired in a way that mind really likes a routine. It likes forming habit. It likes to conserve energy and by enhancing the predictability, and it wants to save time from decision making. It absolutely loves forming habit, comfortability, predictability. And that's where you should know that your life has become stagnant and you are stuck somewhere. So in this talk, I would like to cover 3 key points that anyone can use to just bring a significant and a valuable change in their lives. So step 1 is take harder decisions first. So back in 2015, when I was sitting in my final interview, the interviewer asked me, where do you see yourself in 10 years? I was very confident young lad, just like you guys. And I replied, I see myself owning my own business in 5 years. You're asking me about 10? He was expecting some answer like, I want to see myself being a manager in your position, something like that. Rather, I replied, I want to see myself owning my own business in 5 years. And later what happened? Those 5 years turned into 6, then 7, then 8, and then 9. So from 2022 till 2024, for 3 years, I consistently worked in the same position. It was, as per me, for the first 2 years, 2022 and 3, I thought I'm living a pretty settled life. It was a delusion in my mind, by the way. And the life was pretty settled in terms of the fact that I had a great office environment, running teas, free lunches, dinners, helpful colleagues, a good daycare for the kids. I had become so addicted to that environment and that I have gone into a comfort zone where I even gave up the dream of moving vertically up, like growing professionally. Because for that, I had to move out in the field or I'll have to move out of station. And I was not ready to give up any of that comfort things. Just because I had that addiction in my mind, if I'm sitting in this chair, this is the most comfortable position to be here. And everything is good. Money is running in. Why would I leave? But when the 3rd year started, that was 2024, I started realizing that this comfort zone is making me pay the price. And that price is my professional growth. Where is my dream? I had even given up my dream of starting my own business. I had to recall what my dream was. That realization actually hit me so hard that I took that hardest decision to burst that bubble. And I knew the longer I'll stay, the harder it will become. It will become like I looked at my peers who were sitting there in the same positions in the same office for 6 years, 7 years. Kaneko, they were working with the biggest organization, a multinational organization, but they were stuck. I could clearly see them. They also had a realization somewhere in their minds, but they were not ready to take that hard decisions. And finally, I took the decision, I took the courage and moved out. That was the year I resigned after 9+ years from a multinational organization, my beloved organization. And I feel like blessed that I finally took that decision, because bursting that little bubble I was living in was the first thing to do. Everything else came later on. So the second step, it is very important. and that is encourage yourself to take risks. So there's an example of a man. He wakes up in the morning, gets ready, and goes to his government office where he has been working for past 10 years. Now there is an example of another man. He also wakes up in the morning, goes to the same Kiryana store that he has been working for past 20 years. And there is another example of a man who wakes up in the morning, goes to the same college or university where he has been teaching for 15 to 20 years. There's one thing that is common in all of these men. Yes, they are living a pretty settled life, but they are not ready to give it up. Because that government officer, he is having that job security. He is not moving out to private sector because then he'll have to give up his job security. That Kiryana store owner, he is not ready to invest elsewhere because he is not ready to go out of those four walls because he's scared that his investment might drown. And that lecturer or that professor is not ready to, although he's a lecturer of, he teaches entrepreneurship, but he is not ready to give a chance to his own startup because he is afraid of failure. So allowing yourself, in fact, I would recommend that you encourage yourself to take those risks that you have never taken in your life. Because every change, change is a process. One change occurs in a day and you will not endure it in the morning. There are stages. Everyone has to go through these 4 or 5 stages before finally reaching the acceptance. And the first stage, if you have lost someone, if you have faced a loss, if you lost your job, you're being kicked out, the first stage toward accepting a change is denial. One goes into denial. No, it did not happen. I didn't lose money. How could I lose money? You realize, yes, I finally lost that money. Maybe I finally lost a loved one. Maybe I finally lost this job. And you realize, yes, this has happened. And then you go in a phase of anger and resistance, where you blame others. You might blame your boss, if the boss would have been good, if the peers would have been supportive, if I would have been more helpful, if that person would have been more would have encouraged me. You go into that blame game time. And then you let go of that blame and anger, and you start searching for answers. Yes, now this has happened. You're a little optimistic about future now. You start thinking, you're planning ahead, and after those 5 to 6 stages, you finally arrive at the stage that is acceptance. It is just a matter of time, and it's different for everyone. Some might take days, some weeks, or some even years. And if you are on any of these stages, just know it's not the end yet. You're still to reach that acceptance stage. And the last step that I was going to say is never stop learning. Always keep learning, not for anyone else, not for your organization, not for the exams, not for anything, but for yourself, your personal growth. Be it a skill, be it a course, be it anything outside of your organization. Because learning is something that no one can take away from you. It is said by B.B. King. He is a famous musician, by the way. No one can take your learning away from you. And please know that today, if you are a river, either you fall into a bigger sea or you get divided into smaller streams. Either way, you will be useful and you will be meaningful. Now you see why we've always been finding this value of X, because like our lives is never constant. Thank you so much.